for each of these parallel lines, did they ever hit each other? No. No. What's special about perpendicular lines? They form a right angle. Coincide. They're the same line. If we graph them, they're on top of each other. And if they just intersect, nothing special is going to happen. They just intersect each other. Now, there's a flow chart for this as well. All right, the first part, they never hit each other. All right, so here's what you do. In order to figure out if they're parallel, if they're perpendicular, if they coincide, or they just plain old intersect, and these two intersect, but they intersect, or these two intersect. They intersect in special ways. These intersect and form a right angle. These intersect at every single point. These just intersect at one point, but they don't form any special angles. And like our special angles are 90 degrees, 180 degrees, things like that. Now, the first thing that we do is we get the lines in y equals mx plus b form. And then we're going to compare the slopes. So we're going to take the slopes and we're going to compare them. And there are going to be 4 different outcomes. 1. M1 is equal to M2. And then B1 is not equal to B2. So you can say same slope different intercept. So for the first one, we have same slope, different intercept. They're parallel. So basically, you're going to get y equals m1x plus b1, y equals m2x plus b2. So you're going to get 2 different equations. That's what we're looking at here. So if the slopes are the same, but these 2 numbers are different, they're going to be parallel. If you take m1 times m2, or m1 is a negative reciprocal of M2. So if you multiply the slopes, M1 times M2, and you get negative 1 as an answer, or if M1 is a negative reciprocal of M2. And an example of that would be like 1/2 and negative 2, 3/4 and negative 4/3. Those are negative reciprocals. If that's the case, they're perpendicular. So if your slopes are, when you multiply them, are -1, or they're negative reciprocals of them, they're perpendicular. Now, if you compare the slopes and the y-intercepts, and you get m1 is equal to m2, and you get b1 is equal to b2, they coincide, which means they're the same line. If we graph the line, the next line would graph right on top of it. You could not tell the difference between the two of them. And then if you're comparing slopes and m1 does not equal m2, and m1 times m2 does not equal -1, what happens if they equal -1? They're perpendicular. But if m1 does not equal m2, and m1 times m2 does not equal -1, they just intersect, nothing special.